There's a whole world of difference between playing Cities Skylines the vanilla way and using tons of mods and fully focusing on aesthetics instead of functionality. Well, I have been doing the latter for years now, but in this series I, as the heavy modded player I am, will try to build a well-functioning but still good-looking city as a final tribute to this game. And as I said, I haven't played vanilla in literal years, so this is going to be fun. Enjoy! So before we start building, we need a plan. After spending some time looking at the map, which is the Azure Gulf map that came with the Sunset Harbor DLC, I have come up with an idea how we are going to fill up this area over here. As you can see, this area is well connected with the highway from this side of the map, but from this side of the map there's no connection. So my plan is to extend this highway all the way to over here, so that the city is well connected from all sides. But that is something for in the future because obviously we don't have those tiles over here unlocked. The plan for today is to start up the city, create a residential area and an industrial area, and most important, keep the highway in mind so that we don't have to remove city parts when we are going to build the highway. So first of all, I was thinking of just extending the highway up until here, but as you can see, I forgot that we don't have highways unlocked because we play vanilla. For now we only have this basic 2-lane road unlocked, but I read that if you connect the two highway parts with this normal road, you unlock a few other roads, including the 2-lane gravel road, which is cheaper than the first road we used. And cheap is good because we like cheap. So what we're going to do is simply create an outline of the highway and then start building a residential area on one side and an industrial area on the other side of the highway. So let's see, we will probably have to make a turn here. Something like that should be good. And then we create a little road over here. See how many tiles is this? Construction cost 80. So if we create another road that will cost us 80, we will have the same width of the highway as we have on the other side of the gravel road. Now we just have to connect up the other lane. This is perfect. And then we can start looking at our residential area. Obviously it would be nice to have a road running next to the coast to have a really nice view. So let's just do that so that we have a little guideline on where we are going to build our residential area. For now we will use a grid because that is just the most efficient way to get more inhabitants in, which means more money, and then we can focus on building some less efficient areas of the area that just look better. And when we're talking about the grid size, the most efficient way would be to extend this road, 10 tiles I believe, at least assuming that those little squares here are called tiles. But I figured it might be a little better to extend it 2 tiles more so that we have some space in between of our houses to, for example, add paths, trees, everything. I've seen some other YouTubers do that and I like the idea of being able to detail the city in at least some way, so I'm just going to do that too. And then we can just create more blocks of this size. And that looks really good already. Now the only thing that's left to do is just to connect this area up to the highway. And as it seems, I poorly planned this out. So let's have a think. We can just connect it like this and then maybe make the grid a little bit more interesting by connecting it up like this. Boom. It's not a full grid anymore and this looks a little bit better at least. Alright, so now that we have our residential area done, let's take a look at our industry area. As I mentioned earlier, I want to do this on this part of the city, because at some point in time we will probably create a bigger industry area somewhere outside of the city. But for now, we don't have the space and the money for that. So we need a temporary industry area that is pretty close to the city. And I think that there's no better place than doing that over here, because it won't harm us in the development of our residential area over here and maybe later over here. It's just that little corner that you wouldn't use anyways. So let's just do that. It's close to the city, which is basically perfect. Let's first just extend this road and maybe do something like this before we can add some grids here. And now I will just use the most efficient way to just fill up everything, because we're not focusing on aesthetics with this industry area. We just need space to create work possibilities for our residents. And as you can see, I already made my first mistake. The terrain is pretty hilly over here, so we will not be able to maximize our tiles because of the terrain difference, which is a shame, but I'm not going to demolish everything over here because that will just cost us way too much money. It really annoys me though that there is such a ugly terrain difference over here, but there's nothing we can do about it right now, sadly. Alright, before we start zoning, let's take a look at our power and water services. We have the option between a wind turbine, a coal power plant and an advanced coal power plant. So basically we have to choose between wind energy and coal energy. The coal power plant does provide a lot more electricity, but the downside of it is that it is really expensive. So I think we're going to go with the wind turbine, which just gives us a lot less energy. But once the city grows and we can't keep up with placing wind turbines anymore, we can always switch to the coal power plant. Let's see, there's a really windy spot over here, which is perfect. So we can just place the wind turbine right here. It will immediately connect to our industry area as well, which saves on power lines. So that is absolutely perfect. It's not the nicest place to have a wind turbine because it is really blocking a view. But, you know, with this vanilla city, I really have to train myself to not only think about aesthetics, but also about functionality. And this is a really functional place for such a wind turbine. Now we need the water. Here again we can choose between a water pumping station and a water tower, but the water pumping station just has a much higher capacity as the water tower, and it is cheaper as well, so we are just going to place it right here. Then we need to think about the sewage, and before the Sunset Harbor DLC, you would place these water drain pipes downstream of your water pumping plant, and they would just pump out wastewater and your entire river or ocean would turn brown. But luckily, Sunset Harbor brought us a new option, the inland water treatment plant. It costs us exactly the same as the water drain pipe and has the same capacity, but it doesn't create a completely brown ocean. It does create some pollution, but if we place this in our industry area, which will create pollution anyways, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So we are going to do that. We are going to place it right here on that hill. I'm sorry for all the trees that will die, but it is what it is. We have to deal with it for now. Let's just connect these two facilities and make sure that our residential and industry area has water pipes so that we can start zoning. I'm going to try to be as efficient as possible with the water pipes, as well as putting them under the roads. So let's just do that over here as well. And I believe this is a really efficient way, because as you can see, not everything is covered, but the area that isn't covered is the road, so that doesn't really matter too much. Just connect it like this, and then we are just going to connect these two areas with a water pipe that is not on the road, under the road, because that just saves us a lot of money. Alright, so now the only thing that we have to do is connect the wind turbine to our residential area, because that is where we are going to start zoning, and then we can start zoning and get some people in. Alright, so let's start zoning. Obviously, I could just fill up this entire area with residential, but we also have to keep in mind that there will be a commercial demand later on. So what we are going to do is already zone some commercial areas so that when the demand is there, it can instantly grow. And for the sake of realism, I would want to do that along the main road in the residential area. And what seems to be the main road in the area is the road leading into the town at this point in time. So let's just zone this as a commercial area. And this over here. And then for the rest we can start zoning some residential area. Let's just start with a small area over here, because that will make sure that the people start building over here and the power will be connected. Actually, let's zone one less so that we always can continue those roads over here. And then we just zone this and this. And the same goes for this over here and this over here. Alright, it seems that we are ready to go now. So let's just unpause the time and see what happens. The first houses and shops have grown, and I think it's now time to zone some more residential area over here, and over here. Actually, maybe we can make this a commercial area still, because it's still close to the main road at least. And then what if we just zone our first parts of the industry area as well, so that we can just continue watching without having to pause again midway through to add industrial area. Oh, and before we continue the time lapse, I see that we completely forgot to add power coverage to this water pumping station over here. So let's just do that right now, like this, and then everything should be fine and we can do some more growth watching. So I think the big growth is over yet because we have low demand on everything. We will just keep the clock running, and when there will be a little bit more demand, then people will start moving in and building new industry buildings. So while that is happening, let's just keep on expanding with roads and planning everything in. As I mentioned, I want to continue the road over here, because this is an empty spot that we could very much use for some residential area, and at the same time we could break the grid here and doing some interesting shapes, because obviously we have to keep in mind the highway that is running here. So let's just take a look at how far we can expand the residential area before it gets too close to the highway. We can add a tree border later on, at least that is what I would do. Let's see, can we just create a road over here? Is that too close, is the question. Oh, we hit a milestone. What do we get here? Taxes, loans, a few new services that we have to take care of, a few new buildings for those services, and I see on the edge of the screen that there's a power issue, so we will also have to add another windmill. So the growth plans will go in the garbage bin. We first need to add some services. Another windmill is what we will place here. And then let's just look at the services that we got. We got garbage, healthcare, and education. Let's just start with garbage. We have the choice between a landfill site and a recycling center, but we will go for the cheaper option for now and just place a landfill site in our industry area. So we could place it on this hill, but then we will get some really weird terrain shapes. But it seems as if I have no other choice, because otherwise I would be either really close to the city with my pollution, or blocking valuable industry area. So we are going to place it on the hill anyways and just pretend like we don't see the weird shapes that the terrain does to this landfill site. Alright, next service. Healthcare. We only have one option here, so let's just place it somewhere. Here seems like a good place. Maybe even here. No, we're going to place it over here. And then the school. And this is an interesting question because the school obviously needs to be somewhere in the middle of the neighborhood because kids need to be able to go there from all sides. But for now I am going to place it right over here. Or maybe actually I'm going to place it over here. That is better because we have to keep in mind that we're going to expand way over here. And if we would place it over here, we would only have a small area covered. So, well, now we have placed all the services. Let's just go back to doing that expansion. The road guidelines are pretty annoying over here because if I turn them on, the road guidelines will make it almost impossible to let this road run parallel to the highway. And if I turn them off, I won't be able to see how far I have to go with the road. So I think what I'm going to try is turn everything on and just create a temporary support road from the highway so that we will be completely sure of a road that is parallel to that highway. What if we bring it out like something like this, and then we do this, and then boom, we have a parallel road. Now we can just bring this road out, connect it, and now the distance is unfortunately too short, but we will fix that in a minute. This can luckily connect in one time. And now this road, we can bring it out like this and connect it like this. What we can do is just remove the support road and remove this road over here so that it will be easily possible to connect to both roads with a new road. Alright, problem solved. Next problem is this over here. I think I'm just going to use a large curve. Sadly enough, destroy the power lines and the house. But it is what it is. The house will rebuild itself and we can rebuild the power line as well. Let's just do that right now actually. And then I think everything is good to go to start zoning over here. Oh wait, we have to not forget the water. Perfect. And then let's just start zoning. Add some more residential area. And let's just unpause the game. I see that there's a big industrial demand again, and this is pretty much full. So we can zone a little bit more industry area. And now we will have to play the waiting game again. Actually, this is bad because now the power line isn't connected anymore and everyone is having power issues. Okay, let's just place another power line. I was expecting a house to grow here fast, but obviously the demand is low and I am not used to playing with growable buildings, so I didn't even pay attention to the demand while I was zoning there. The longer I'm waiting and looking at these roads over here, the more I am getting annoyed by this little stretch of road over here, which just makes cars go on the other lane to enter the city. Now obviously we can solve that by upgrading this to a 2-lane road, which is maybe the best option to do right now, because it really annoys me that those cars were doing that. So let's just do it like this. Upgrade everything. There goes the power line once again. I am really bad at managing power lines, it seems. Okay, connected now. And now the houses have grown. I can also remove this power line over here. That's one less to worry about, one less to destroy. And it seems like, oh, we are having power issues again. We do have quite a lot of money, so I think it might be time to just place that coal power plant and be done with the power issues forever. So let's just do that. I think this is a really nice place, again up the hill, but I'm just going to ignore it. Functionality is the most important right now. We can fix this later on. And now what we can do to save some money is turn the wind turbines off. That will save us an additional 2 times 80, 160 a week. And now we shouldn't be having any more power issues for at least a little while now, until the city grows that big again, that we will have problems with that. The last thing I really want to do before rounding up today's episode is detail something, because I just feel the urge to detail something, and I think I have found the perfect spot. We can just detail this elementary school. Let's see, where was the detailing tab? No. We have to reach a population of 1,300 before we can use landscaping, and with that all props and trees. Okay, I guess no detailing for me. Let's just create this into a residential area then and leave some space so that we can detail the school a little bit later on. And let's just continue expanding. I really need to get used that I don't have everything unlocked at the start. Let's just add some more water lines like this. We have more than enough power. And we hit our next milestone. What do we get this time? We get a new area unlocked, which is really nice, but we don't need it right now. We have enough space over here. District policies, alone, more districts and services policy stuff. 3 new services, emergency services, police department, and unique buildings. So basically 2 services we really need to take care of. Some industry specializations, commercial and residential specializations, more policies, and a few new buildings. Alright. So unique buildings are nice, but we can't afford them right now, so we just have to not worry about it right now. Emergency services we do need to worry about, and I think we are going to place a fire station right over here, because it needs to be able to cover both the residential and industrial area, and I feel like a fire could very much break out in an industrial area. Alright, we also need police coverage, so let's just place a police station. Yeah, why not place it over here as well? Have a little service spot, which we can detail in the next episode. And with that, I think we can round up the episode. We did some big improvements from an empty map. We have a residential area, industrial area, basic services. We almost got to 1,000 population. And in the next episode, we will first of all do a big expansion so that we can get to the 1,300 population. And then we can start detailing the school and the service area over here. So with that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. And as always, enjoy the cinematics and the fire over here.
Just